Hey bestie, welcome back to my channel. Today I'm doing my April reading wrap up, okay? It started off as a slow month but ended up being okay. I read 11 books and I don't think I had any 5 stars, but I did have a 1 star, so let's talk about it. Let's start with the books that I read in reading vlogs. These first 3 books are in my Reading Local Authors reading vlog, which is out now. First, I have Run Little Killer by Darma. This is a very dark romance. It's a motorcycle club romance, which I had never read before. This is about Lennon, who escapes from a mental institution and runs into bikers Rhett and Nix, who kind of take her under their wing in order to protect her. Yeah, I gave this book a 3 star, okay? It was very unhinged, I would say. It was very, like, spicy. There was not a whole lot of plot going on. There's definitely an audience for this book, okay? I'm just not the audience. And that's how I feel about a lot of the books I rate lower. It's like there's an audience for them, but it's not me, and that's okay. In the same video, I read Find Me in the Rain by Schuyler. This is the first book in the Nighthawk series. This is an interconnected standalone series about some professional hockey players. The nice thing about this series, they are a little bit more emotional. There's a little bit more depth to them. This first book followed Alec and Laura. Laura is a single mom raising her son, and Alec is the man from her past. So when the team is kind of doing a tour to all the players' hometowns, they run into each other again and are able to kind of reconnect and talk through things that happened in the past. I rated this a 4.5 star. I really liked this book. I listened to it on audio. I thought that the way they were able to kind of reconnect and talk about, you know, what had happened previously and acknowledge that they made mistakes and move on was really wonderful. I also wanted to cry when I finished this book, and I'm not usually a crier, so that was a little whack. I'm super excited to continue this series, and I definitely will be continuing. Last in that video, I read Little Do You Know by Laurea Matthews. This is the first book in the Bad at Love duology. This follows Bash and Thalia. Bash is a college football player and Thalia is a photographer. She also lives with Bash, okay? She moves in with her brother after she comes back from studying abroad, and Bash also happens to live with that brother. So yeah, it's brother's best friend, forced proximity, roommate, all the good stuff. I really enjoyed this book. I gave it a 3.5 stars. I did feel like they were a little bit back and forth a lot, but other than that, I really liked it, and I am excited to pick up the second book. If you want to hear more about my thoughts on those books, make sure to go check out my Reading Local Authors reading vlog. This year, I truly have found a love of cowboy romances. I have a cowboy corner, okay? They're beautiful and I love them. Also, cowboy romance book club sweatshirt. What more could you want, honestly? I cannot stop reading cowboy romances. This month, like every other month this year, I read several, okay? I do have a reading vlog coming out May 9th of me reading some of these books, so definitely check back in a week and check it out. One of the books I read in that video is Chasing the Wild by Elliot Rose. This is the first book in the Crimson Ridge series. I think this is like maybe a little bit of like a darker, and it's not necessarily dark, like it's not dark like Run Little Killer, but it's darker, I would say, than like Chestnut Springs, for example, you know? It's a little bit spicier. This is an ex-boyfriend's dad romance between Layla and Colt. First of all, why is every cowboy romance male's name Colt? Colt lives at the very tippy top of a mountain, and when Layla and Case, Colt's son, break up, Layla is coming to Colt's house to drop off the rest of his things. There is a massive snowstorm, leaving Layla snowed in with Colt on the top of the mountain while Case is down in the town, leaving Layla and Colt trapped on the top of the mountain together. Respectfully, I hated this book. It was fully just smut. I think they first got it on at the between 30 and 40% mark, and they did not stop, okay? I was listening to this audiobook when I was starting to pack up my dorm. Straight smut, 30 minutes. I go to work the next day, still going at it. What do you mean? It was chapter after chapter after chapter. I wanted some plot, dog. I keep seeing TikToks of people being like, I loved this book. And I'm like, did we read the same book? Like, genuinely, I'm like concerned that I read the wrong book. Because what do you mean you loved it? I also thought that Case, the son, was just so problematic and like nobody cared. It was just kind of like, oh, that's Case. I didn't love that aspect. Like, I thought there could have been more intervention there. I gave this 1 star. Not for me. Will not be continuing the series unless I'm very, 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 very desperate. Also in that video, I read Cowgirls Don't Cry by Mackenzie Hart. This is an indie book. This is the first book in the Silver Creek series. This is about Ellie and again, Colt. And Ellie returns to her hometown after a very, very, very terrible relationship to kind of heal and work on herself and figure out her next steps. However, when she was in high school, her parents passed away, so she ended up moving in with Colt's family. So when she comes back to town, she's living in the guest house on Colt's ranch. So this is a childhood friends to lovers. He takes care of her, found family. However, I did not love this book either, okay? I thought that the idea was there. The idea was great. The execution could have been worked on, okay? I thought that everything just felt like it was happening very fast and there was no real points of tension until the very, very, very end, where it felt like everything imaginable was like being thrown at the wall of like, this happened and this happened and this happened and it was like, just choose one, dog. Yeah, it didn't feel like there was really like a sense of resolution. However, I did think that this book read very fast. I did like our characters, and I think it set up for the next book in the series very well, and I would be interested in continuing the series. I did give this originally a 2.5 stars, but I think the more I like think and talk about it, I think it's more of a 3 star for me, seeing as I would pick up the rest of the series. The last book I read for that video was Cash by Jessica Peterson. This is the first book in the Lucky River Ranch series. This book follows Cash and Molly. Molly's father unexpectedly passes away. To get her inheritance, she learns that she has to live on his farm for 1 year. The only issue is she is very much a city girl, and she and the grumpy foreman Cash do not get along at all. Cash is very protective of the ranch, okay? Molly's dad really gave Colt and his brothers a new sense of life and meaning when he took them in and offered to have them work on his farm. I really enjoyed this book. I gave it 5 stars, okay? This is what I would equate more to like an Elsie Silver type book, if you're looking for that. This is also a 5-book series that follows a set of brothers. I really liked how we were able to see Cash and Molly work past their misconceptions of each other and kind of work together even when they didn't want to, causing that little bit of tension. I thought this book balanced humor and spice and feeling really well. So then, you better bet your biscuit I read the second book, Wyatt, okay? I would have read the third book by now also, but I ran out of hoopla credits for them. I read Wyatt. This is the second book in the Lucky River Ranch series. It follows Wyatt and Sally. Wyatt has stepped up and taken over as foreman on the farm after Cash stepped down at the end of his book. Sally is also back in town. She just graduated from veterinarian school and is waiting to go to her next job. Basically, Sally and Wyatt are childhood best friends, so Sally asked Wyatt to help her learn how to feel calm around men and kind of teach her how to get their attention, and I'm sure you can guess where it goes from there. So this is a childhood best friends to lovers. This is kind of the teach me kind of trope. I rated this book 4 stars, okay? I really had a great time. I cannot wait to continue this series. Jessica Peterson has my heart. This month, I also read Bourbon and Secrets by Victoria Wilder. This is the second book in the Bourbon Boys series. This is a romantic suspense between a single dad bourbon distiller, Lincoln Fox, and a private investigator, burlesque dancer, Faye Calloway, okay? Faye is from this town, but she moved away to pursue her dreams of becoming a police officer, but now she's back working on a case. Even though there are a lot of secrets, Faye and Lincoln are kind of reconnecting and relearning things about their past with each other that they did not originally know. I rated this book a 4-star. I listened to it on audio. The audiobook is 10 out of 10, let me tell you. I just really like this series. I think it's very unique and interesting. I really love the bourbon distillery aspect. It gives, you know, another layer to this story. The spicy scene spice, you know, it makes me want to drink bourbon, and like, what more could you ask for from a book? Rated this a 4 stars. I cannot wait to read the last book in this series. Another book I read this month was Wild Card by Elsie Silver. This is the 4th book in the Rose Hill series. This follows Bash and Gwen. They meet one night in an airport after both of their flights are delayed due to snow. And they really just kind of have a magical night together, okay? But then 8 months later, Bash goes to his son's birthday party only to find out that his son is now dating Gwen. A few months later, Bash and Gwen are living under the same roof, so they're kind of having to learn how to navigate their ever-growing desires and tension with each other while knowing that Gwen had dated his son. I rated this book a 4 stars. I think this is how you do an ex-boyfriend's dad romance, okay? The ex-boyfriend was unlikable, but he was not like the worst person in the entire world, okay? I will say I did think that this story would not have worked without Clyde, the very grumpy, kind of eccentric old man, okay? I think he was really the driving force in pushing these two together. I really did enjoy it. Gwen is a yoga instructor and she really made me want to like do yoga. I really liked the Rose Hill series as a whole. It does not compare to Chestnut Springs though. I don't know if anything will really ever compare to Chestnut Springs. I also read Game On by Navessa Allen. This is the 3rd book in the Into the Darkness series. This follows Tyler and Stella. Tyler has spent years looking for his father, and now he has found him and wants to destroy him, okay? And he's going to manipulate anyone that he can to do that. And this includes our FMC Stella. Basically, Stella's parents are business partners with Tyler's dad, so Stella embodies everything that Tyler hates about this upper elite class. Tyler blackmails Stella into fake dating him so that he can perpetrate her circles and get closer to his father. And then, yeah, things kind of go crazy. I rated this book a 3-star. I listened to it on audio once again. This book just did not feel to the same caliber as Lights Out and Caught Up to me. It was just like fine. I'm gonna be so for real, you know, this was an enemies to lovers book. I'm not sure they ever like fell in love. Like, I feel like they're like lusting after each other, but you cannot tell me in 2 years they're still together, because like, I don't believe it, dog. So it's a bit of a bummer, but I'm going to continue to read anything that Navessa Allen puts out. And then last but not least this month, I read The Faraway In by Sarah Beth Durst. I believe this is her young adult debut. This is a very cozy fantasy about Calissa. After going through kind of an intense breakup, she decides she needs a break from the city, so she goes to help her aunt in Vermont with her bed and breakfast, and very quickly learns that the inn is magical, okay? Here she also meets another boy, Jack. They find peace in each other, I guess. So there's a little bit of romance there. I gave this book a 4 stars. I really did enjoy it. I will definitely be picking up Sarah Beth Durst's adult books. I'm very curious about those. I did really enjoy this book. I have like 2 issues, I think. My big one is that I wish Calissa and Jack would have just stayed friends. I don't know how much I see their romance, you know, like they just felt like besties to me, and that's okay. Like, not every book needs a romance. So I wish they would have just stayed friends. I had a hard time buying into the romance. And the second one is that I felt like it took quite a long time to build up to this magical realization and for things to kind of start to pick up. So I wish that would have happened a little bit earlier in the book. But aside from that, this was lovely. Like, it was just such a cozy little fantasy taking place at this very magical bed and breakfast with these very magical creatures. And I thought the meaning behind the book, it's kind of like accepting help when you need it and learning to grow and to change, was very just lovely. Like, I think this is a lovely book. That's like the only way I can like think to describe it. Like, I just want to like give it to my friends and be like, read this. It's so good, like it's lovely. I did have a really great time reading it. So those are the 11 books that I read this month. I would say it was a pretty average good month, you know. I would love to hear what you read this month in the comments down below, as well as any thoughts you have on the books that I read. And if you've made it this far, don't forget to like and subscribe. Your support means the whole world to me, and I will see you in my next video. Love you.